Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. I want to talk about something I've got here today that's something that's really special. As you can see, what I got in front of me here is the new offering from Bergara. It's the B14r. It's chambered in .22 long rifle. I'm really excited that I actually got my hands on one of these. Just browsing the internet and YouTube, I haven't seen a lot of normies with these. It's a lot of influencers and big gun channels that got them. It just started to ship out apparently last week, so I was able to get my hands on one. So what I'm going to do, just like all my other videos, I'm going to talk about the rifle and the specs of it a little bit. I won't go too far in depth, and then I'll get into the groups that I shot today. Today I tried 9 different types of ammo, and I do have to say I'm in the Springfield, Ohio area, and I got out this morning. I knew in order to beat the wind I had to get out. I started pulling triggers around 6:30, and it was like real feel of 22 degrees here this morning, so it was really cold. I was very fortunate. I was able to finish up before the wind rolled in. Just looking at the weather forecast, it was supposed to be like 20 mile an hour per winds like for the next 2 weeks or something. So it's really hard when you have a gun like this just sitting around, not really just chomping at the bit to get out and shoot it. So I woke up early and was able to get it in. So like I said, tried 9 different types of ammo today. It's very cold. Go over the rifle just a little bit. Everything that you see on it as far as the rifle is from the factory trigger, the factory action screw torque settings and all that. Haven't changed any of that, left it where it is. I think they suggest 55 pounds for the action screw settings. The trigger I did measure was it's a good trigger. It was nice and light. I left it where it was at. Of about 10 pulls, it was averaging around 1 pound and 10 ounces, and I think it had a little room to go down and up as well, depending on your preference. I've got a Seekins 30 MOA base. One thing that I don't particularly care for that they did on this, they didn't send it with a scope base. You think when you pay $1,000 for a rifle, they'd send it with a scope base, but they don't. So just be aware of that if you're buying one. The optics and the mount is an American Defense Manufacturing Recon. This is the SL model. I think it's right around 1.2 or 1.12 inches height without looking at it, but it's a 0 MOA mount. Scope is the new Vortex Strike Eagle. I really like this scope. This one's the 5-25 by 56. I liked it so much I got 2 of them. I won't go into the scope. We're here to talk about the rifle, but anyway, got the Atlas bipod on it. So having said all that, I'll get into my groups, and like all my other videos, I'll go from worst to first. And all this ammo is just stuff that I had sitting around, because if you want to order stuff offline now, it's really hit or miss where you get it from or what's in stock. So I'm fortunate that I have a wide variety of ammo that I keep on hand just for stuff like this. So like I said, worst to first, these are all at 50 yards. First type, the worst was Aguila, and this consistently shows up for the worst on a lot of these rifles that I test. Even though I like it, it's fun to shoot because it's cheap, it's generally the worst. So this was averaging 0.872. As you can see, it's not the greatest, but it's cheap, fun to shoot. Downside of this ammo is it is supersonic, so kind of have to keep that in mind. Next, personal favorite of mine is a Federal Target. I love it. Can't get this at Walmart anymore. You have to order it offline. The second worst, though, and again, this is another supersonic ammo, but there are a couple good groups sprinkled in there. The bottom one was pretty decent. Average .718. So, not bad for how cheap this stuff is. Pretty consistent, too. So, next, something that surprised me a little bit, because it's normally a real good shooter for me, was Standard Velocity, and I'll show you the groups here. It would have been a lot better, but the second one from the bottom on the right had a flyer. Could have been from wind, could have been from me, I'm not really sure. You take that out and it's a lot better, getting closer to half an inch average. Bottom group was pretty good, and again, I guess I have to say, like all my other videos, the groups on the left are fouling rounds, and then the groups on the right I shoot for group. So CCI Standard Velocity. I've got like 8,000 rounds of this stuff. I absolutely love it. Okay, next. Another supersonic round, 42 grain Eley Force. I'll show you the groups here. Getting down there in group size. A couple of flyers here and there, but pretty consistent. Averaged .654. A couple good groups on the left side there for fouling. throw out a flyer here and there, it's getting close to 1/2 inch. So not bad, not good, about average. The stuff's expensive though. So another thing to note, this rifle doesn't feed this stuff very well. I'm not sure if it's the coating or what, but I was having trouble getting it to the action to cycle. But I'll go over that at the end of the video here. So there's Eley Force .654. Next was Wolf Match Extra, and it shot, as you can see, okay. Take out that top one there, and it's pretty decent. Average .609. Well, is it 50 yards? So .443 was pretty good. So there's that Wolf Match Extra. And let's see. Another offering from Wolf. Stuff shot pretty decent. I was surprised. I haven't really had good luck with this stuff with my other guns, but this one seemed to shoot it okay. It's Wolf Match Target. You can see here. Average a little over 1/2 inch, so getting real close to a minute there. I mean, that third one from the top there, 290. I mean, that's almost same hole. That's good. Bottom group there, 395. And as you can see, there's a couple groups that were just one big jagged hole. So this stuff seemed to shoot it pretty well. So Wolf Match Target, 50 yards. Pretty good. Next, we have SK rifle. Got the big 500-pound jug here. I don't know why they send them in that, but they do. So shooting good. So the groups are really starting to tighten up here. So SK rifle, 50 yards, averaging .472. So this is averaging under a minute, just as you'd expect a $1,000 .22 to start shooting here. So groups are really starting to tighten up. Throw out that group that was over 1/2 inch there, and it'd be really small. So under a minute, getting better. That's SK rifle. Another one of my favorite types of ammo here, I have a lot of it, all my rifles seem to shoot it well, is Eley Target. Again, it's kind of getting up there in price, but it's pretty consistent. It's performed well for me through several different types of firearms that I have here. I'll show you the groups. Again, averaging under a minute now with these. .465. So I mean, the bottom group, the last two I shot were sub .4. I mean, that's really good. Even the one in the third down from the top there was grouping weird, but still just about a minute. So again, 50 yards, Eley Target, .465. And to no one's surprise, the best ammo of the day, which seems to be the case for every 22 that I own, is Center-X. Averaging 348. I mean, me as a shooter, without having a lead sled, given the conditions, real field of 22, the wind started to kick up. I mean, I cannot personally shoot any better than this. That's as good as I can do. I mean, look at those groups on the right. I mean, nothing even comes close to 1/2 inch. I mean, you're getting way down there. This was performing as you would expect this Bergara to perform. So really good groups. The only downside of the Center-X is expensive. I mean, I think it's like 12 cents a round or something. But I have been able to find it in stock lately. I think people don't panic buy the expensive stuff as much as they do their standard velocity and all that. So, okay, there it is. Absolute tack driver. I mean, it's going where you point it. And that's something that you have confidence when you know it's going to go where those crosshairs are when you pull the trigger. So it's just something nice to have. Okay, so there's the group. So a couple of things I want to talk about, my overall impressions with this rifle. The magazines are AICS style clone magazines. So I mean, this is an exact trainer. Like if you have a HMR Pro side by side, I mean, they look exactly the same. They feel exactly the same. I have handled an HMR Pro before, and I mean, it's a heavy rifle. I think it comes in around 10 pounds, and that's without the optic. So I mean, it's up there in weight. But again, they do that so they can mirror the HMR Pro. The action was something that I'm still not sold on this rifle yet. I don't quite know if it's because the tolerances are so tight that when you cycle this action, it's just not really smooth. It seems like you have to almost pull it directly straight back for it to cycle properly. Not cycle properly, but be a decent smooth action like you would expect $1,000 gun to have. I found myself getting hung up a couple times just the way that I cycle the bolt. You have to manipulate it a certain way, or else it kind of gets hung up. The trigger is good. Like I said, I didn't adjust it, but it's a very nice crisp break. Hardly any creep. No complaints there. It's a nice heavy barrel. Feels great. 2 flush cups. This one's got a couple spacers. I think you have to buy them separate. So my overall impressions of this rifle, it's very good. Apart from the action, I'm still not sold on it, and it's only had about slightly under 500 rounds, probably right around 500 rounds, so it's not quite broken in yet. So I'm hoping that once it gets cycled more and more, that it'll start to smooth out a little bit. Now, another thing to note, that out of those 500 rounds, I only had 1 failure to extract, and that was with Wolf. It didn't seem to extract those as well as it did all the other ones. Well, actually I had 2, but the one was my fault. I was cycling it kind of slow. A couple more things I want to talk about. So as you guys follow my channel, you know I've also got a Tikka T1X, and I just want to put them side by side for a second, because these are both high-end 22s. Having shot these, sorry, it's going to get a little shaky here for a second. Having shot the Tikka about 4,000 times, I'm really used to the trigger, really used to the action, and I've only got about 500 rounds through the Bergara. I'm not biased, but I will tell you that the action on the Tikka is much, much better, and the trigger is slightly better. Not much, but it's a little crisper. The action on the Tikka is better, a lot better. Tikka's got a 45-degree throw. The Bergara is a full 90. That doesn't really make a difference to me as long as it's nice and smooth and easy. So I'll try to get this on camera to manipulate it. I mean, the Tikka, you can manipulate so easy. I mean, one finger. Short throw, and that's it. The Bergara, as you can see, really, really long throw. Not quite as easy to manipulate. I mean, it's hard to see on camera. But overall impressions, if I had to pick one of these, only having the limited amount of ammo that I have, I would go with the Tikka, but I'm really looking forward to putting more rounds downrange with the Bergara. The Tikka, I've proven, it goes out to 450, and that's all that I have the ability to shoot. I know we could stretch it out to probably 550, maybe 600 on a good day with good conditions. So I don't see any reason why the Bergara wouldn't be as accurate. Overall, the Bergara shoots more ammo well. The Tikka shoots the Center-X, obviously. I mean, between the two of them with Center-X, they're pretty much identical. Depending on how you're shooting that day, it's back and forth. They're pretty much about the same. The Bergara shoots more ammo better, if that makes sense. So, things to take away. If you got $1,000 to spend on a 22, in my overall personal opinion, I say buy the Tikka, put it in a KRG. If you don't want to F with it at all, get this Bergara. It's a beautiful rifle. I mean, people are going to stop on this range and ask you to see it. That's just the bottom line. So anyway, glad I got my hands on one. Love to hear from you guys. Drop a comment. Love the interaction. As usual, take care.